So now let's talk about one other thing. Like I said, as you get familiar with the solution, as you start understanding the concepts and functionality of what you can do with the solution, let's increase your speed even more. So looking at this, now that the system knows and has been mapped to all of those items, I don't think I've mapped this smoke detector, but I think it's going to go over. So it's already been mapped. It's telling me it is, so that's what's good. But what happens is when you map these particular items out, now the system knows that, hey, Darren, this is a concrete slab. I know where they are throughout all of the plans, all of the drawings. So why don't we just go ahead and click a button and send them out over to estimating, costing them out. Okay, good. So when you think about it, when you get about 4 or 5 projects into this and you've got all of those mapped, well, there's a hybrid of, there's some methodologies of implementing the system. But once you've done about 4 or 5 projects, boom, you can just get to a point where, okay, we'll go ahead and send all these over to the estimating. Now, I always like to watch this as it sends them over because it will hide them as it goes. So now what it's done is it's sent over all of those particular items right there, costed them out, ready to go. So we'll jump over to the estimating, but one other thing that we need to look at here is, remember the change that we made here. It's going to take me to that change. So when I made the change to that flooring, made that addendum and did that overlay with that, of course, we changed the quantities. We made changes to the information right there. So looking at that, here's the original takeoff that we had in it, that we sent over to estimating. I didn't actually show you guys that part. I did that prior to the presentation. But when we look at that, I sent this over there. Now we've got this change and these new specifications, these new quantities right there. Oh, and by the way, we've got this room to CO. But let's do something a little bit more. Let's call it that. Room 2, let's call it CO. And let's do one more thing. Let's go ahead and make some additional notes. Notes for, let's see, what is today? Gosh, it is April already, right? 4/6/2016. So when you look at that, we can make those additional notes, whatever they may be, can go on and on and on here. But I'll say okay to that. Don't want to bore you with my 30 words per minute typing. So when we look at that, bring these items together and take it off. Now you notice that little pencil that I did see there, it's gone now. So the system does alert you to those changes. I might not have pointed that out, but you may have picked up on that without me pointing it out. But there's a little pencil there. If we made a change to it again, it would show me that there's a change, that those takeoffs have changed. Well, now let's do this. Let's go over into our estimating. And let's open up the Quinta, gosh, anyway. There's all of those particular items right there for you, lined up. And as you know, that's a long list of items. So what I would do is I would suggest we use our combine feature, of course, to bring any like items together so that we can see these. But we've costed all of those particular takeoffs out. I mean, they're already costed out for us, ready to go. Now what I can also do is come over here and look at my assemblies that I did. Now, there's going to be a couple things that weren't assigned because they weren't an assembly, right? But you can see by the blue right here, well, let's highlight that blue right there. It came over from eTakeoff. But there's my project manager. There's my smoke detectors that I did. And I don't think we're charging enough for those smoke detectors. $1. I don't think that's going to do it. So I might want to bump that up to $15. But anyway, that's beside the point. When we look at this now, what we can do is we can go into each one of these and review these. And I think the crucial one to review right here is this guy here. Room number 2 is a change order. Let's review that assembly. Let's have an audit trail that tells us what the original takeoff was, the one I did prior to the presentation, and then the reversal that I showed you when we did the overlay. And then here are the new relevant variables, specifications for this particular takeoff that are generating the quantities to, costing those quantities out to the estimate. So now we have an audit trail that's going to lead us through that and let us know. And it does, of course, say, hey, Darren, looks like you made a change here. Here's the reasoning behind that change. And now we know what happened there. It could have been a junior estimator that did all of that and just wanted to notate all that for our review process. So an audit trail on the way over. One more thing I do want to show you is, of course, you may use WBS codes. You may want to break out those particular items. At this point, it is using the description to break out those costs. Of course, the unassigned were project managed smoke detectors, of course, but I can move those into, let's see, let's do this. Move those into Section 5. That's done. But now there's our CO. We can look at that information. So break these out the way that you want using description. Later on, we just introduced full WBS code functionality. That's coming down the road. But now we can see this by the location, and I can get to the specific costs of that location. Last but not least, when we look at it, there is an audit trail, of course, on the way over. And what we may want to have is an audit trail on the way back. So I can right-click, or I can hit this button right here. And now what it's going to do is take me to that exact drawing and open up the details of the bridge for us as well. So now we're seeing that detail. There's that takeoff right there. So giving you a complete audit trail back and forth. Very nice. And when you look at that seamless integration right there, it doesn't get any more seamless than that. I mean, that is a true seamless integration, and really can streamline the process rather than moving quantities around manually.